Hello, my name is Massey, and this is Email Marketing Campaigns Assignment. Week 4. The CAN-SPAM Act is a law and set of rules aimed at email marketing. This law outlines the proper requirements for commercial emailing. This law is specifically aimed at promotional messages for a product or services. If these laws and rules are not followed, one could be assessed penalties of up to $16,000 per email. Some violations may include the use of misleading or deceptive headers. Following these rules can prevent jail time as well. Spam is protected by the First Amendment. Some spam would have commercial content with disregard for rules of this act. If rules are violated within the amendment is void in that case. For the most part, spam is still freedom of speech and protected until it is not. Commercial speech from a company is protected differently from individual speech. Commercial speech most times might have to do with a company trying to sell you something or service. Commercial speech from a company is protected differently from individual speech. Commercial speech likely has to do with a company trying to sell you something or a service. It is a lesser degree of protection because it could be misleading or false just to gain money or some type of value from an individual. This is unlike political speech or individual speech, which has other ramifications. In some cases, if the individual is forwarding emails and they are hired to do so, they could be held to the same violation of the act. It would have to be a clear situation of promotional use involved for that individual to violate that act and be held accountable. It all ties back to if there has been a violation to begin with. You can indeed be charged with a crime under the CAN-SPAM Act for using spam marketing. Ways around this would involve following strict rules when it comes to the CAN-SPAM Act. In some cases, spam marketing or emails that have not been given permission by the consumer to be sent to their emails addresses. Some strategies used that are illegal include the use of scare tactics or defamation ads of competitors to get someone to click on the email. Giving an opt-in or opt-out link and not having any misleading text would be considered unsolicited or bulk. This would be the best way to avoid any legal action. GDPR is a regulation that was put into effect in 2018 to promote better data protection for individuals in Europe. This regulation is an overhaul of the old data protection law that had a few holes here and there. For the most part, the old protection laws were country specific. The main goal for the new data protection law is to put the power of data protection back in the hands of the individual. The GDPR set out to implement new technologies that have come out since the original protection laws as well. Some of these technologies include mobile, the internet, and cookieless tracking on the web. All requirements pertaining to this regulation applies across the entire world. If my company is trying to reach individuals in Europe, they have to abide by the GDPR guidelines. The benefits of the regulation gives the citizen ability to take all of its data that have been collected by a company and retain all of that information for themselves. Companies would also have to inform the person that they would be tracking and holding on to data before the person is actually accessing the websites or the apps. With this new regulation, soft opt-in forms are not compliant. A hard opt-in form would be required before gathering any data from a potential client or person. One would have to make sure that they have an address on the email that's being sent out to each person. This address would have to be a working address with a physical location. Like before, you would have to inform the recipient how to opt out of receiving future emails. All header information would have to be true and not misleading. This might include the subject lines as well. This portion of the email would have to fall in line with the actual body of the email. Be very truthful with your intent. The recipient is receiving your email and should know exactly what they are getting themselves into. Honor any and all opt-out requests properly. Make sure to inform your recipient of where you are located. If the email is an ad, say so. If all of this is done correctly, you will not have any issues with the Can Spam Act or the GDPR.